Good morning. It's Vaughan in Nova Scotia. I'm going to do you a quick tour and then I'm going to throw some flat baking dishes. But I just converted my studio for an outside throwing area. You can see it there with some shelving. And this is for the summer season, so people can come to the side door and not have to come inside because of COVID-19, obviously. So I can do some throwing demos for people. But here's a little quick look at what I've been up to, and you'll get a view of the studio as well. But this is the actual garden I've been working on, and setting up the planters, lots of planters, because we basically have a really rural location. People are often looking for plant pots. Lots of traffic today too. Lots of tomato plants. There's a butterfly. But so anyway, this is a little view of the studio itself. There you go. Outdoor display of pottery. There's the house where we live, and the greenhouse on the hill, the studio gallery, and all my bushes I put in 3 years ago. And that's a little panorama. That's the LaHave Bakery, which you can type in if you want to see what that's about. And then you've got my assortment of planters. This is a view down again. This will all fill in with the plants within the next 3 to 4 weeks. And that's my gas kiln down there, which I'll start to fire. Maybe by the early next week I'll have enough pots made again. I called it Murmuration Street because we have a lot of starlings here. If you notice, if you type in murmuration on the internet, you'll see lots of starlings flying around making patterns in the sky. And that's the water, because we're right on the water. This is a Bailey gas kiln, 24 cubic feet. It's 30, I think, space, but you can pack 24. And that's my little setup. So I'm going to throw some baking dishes. I threw the chicken baker bottles the other week, and now it's time to see how close we can get for you as well. So I built this as a little deck for my wheel to sit on. There we go. And I put myself a bucket seat. There you go. So basically the light is terrible, isn't it? It's like somebody's shining a flashlight on me, so it's very sunny today. We're supposed to get up to 30 centigrade. Let's see how we can position this so you can see the wheel. Maybe we need to twist it a bit. I think you can see the wheel now, you just can't see me. That's plenty. That's good. Alright, okay, so I'm going to throw what I make as a baking dish, which we use as a chicken roaster, because I make a bottle that goes inside it. There you go. So I threw on this yesterday for the first time to make sure I didn't fall off, because I'm on a platform on wheels, so I can pull it into the studio each night. This is a number 80 Laguna clay. It is a red stoneware speckle. I do not bang it into a ball. I cut it out of the bag into blocks and then pound them down. That's dried out really fast. Outside, everything goes a lot faster. Did that slip off? There we go. There you go, you can see that now. Alright. Yeah, since I'm on a platform, everything will wobble every time I hit the wheel. Alright, so I'll do one, and then I'll describe what I'm doing with the second one, and then throw a third one, so it'll remind you how I did it. So I'm really high up, because I built a bucket seat. It's a 5-gallon bucket with a lid, and then a piece of cardboard, just making it a bit more comfortable. 4 layers of cardboard actually over the top of the lid, so I can sit on it. And I taped that all together. It's lifted me really high up, so I can get a lot of weight on my shoulders down right over the clay. So the wheel's going not full speed but pretty fast. I've got it centered. Now I'm going to flatten the top. If it stays wet, I'll go down a bit further because this is a baking dish. Don't go too thin when you're doing a baking dish. You want the wall and the bottom to be the same thickness. Now compress, because you just stretched it out. You need to compress that bottom area, because by pushing it out in one direction, the molecules are all going to follow that, and you want to kind of get that clay compressed so that you don't get any stretch cracks, drying cracks basically. So pressing down with all my fingers to compress it. Wet it thoroughly. Slow the wheel down. Pull the wall up. I'll describe all this more on the second piece. There you go. Now don't go right to the rim. I like to leave the rim really a little thicker, even though I want the wall and the bottom to be the same thickness. I like the rim to be a little thicker because it gives that feeling of durability. There's more clay on the rim that'll take a bit of a bang without chipping, basically, if you leave it a little thicker. So I've dried it out. The water's all off. Now I'm going to make that little groove, which we're all taught to do, so the wire will pull through easier. Now let's get this one last time. I've got all different tools on this wheel. It's not my usual wheel. I'm missing a couple of them, so I have to remind myself to go take my tools from my regular wheel, which is a Shimpo Whisper. This is a Shimpo Light, which is why there's a slight humming noise. But it's a good wheel. Anyway, finger push out a little bit, get a bit more volume. The rim is about 2–2¼ inches high, I would guess, so it'll hold quite a bit of sauce from your chicken. And if you want to, it's a nice thing for decoration, is just to give a little point of depth in that rim, and the Calais will look darker in that line there. Alright, so let's see what we got. Slightly opened up. I could have gone a bit more on that one, and that one's a smooth bottom inside too. I'll make the next one similar but different. This dried so fast. I'm going to grab my clay while I'm still wetting it. It's a nice day, but it's going to be a dry one, so I'll have to water my plants probably twice during the day. Okay, curve it out. Still looking at me? Yep. Now, hand is on the left hand is right on the wheel head, and the top hand is connected to the left hand with my fingers across it so they work together. Now I'm going to go full speed, just to give that first centering push. Then just to be sure, I'm going to cone by pressing my hands together, pulling up. It's just getting dry, so now I'm going to grab water, push it back down, and push that slightly away from your body, and then down. Left hand is now touching the wheel head, and I'm going to try and go for center. Try and do that before it dries in your hand. Get some water. It's just about right. Now, the left hand stays where it is. Dribble water over and push down with the top hand until it feels dry. And before it dries, you let go slowly. Fill it full of water. Push down again. Before it dries, let go slowly. And this time I'm going to push out a little bit. Let go slowly as it starts to dry. You must anticipate that dryness so that you don't stick to the clay with your hands, because you'll pull it off center. Dribble some water right on the inside and just give yourself that little bit of a wall there. That starts the wall. Now we want to compress that rim again. Sorry, compress the bottom again. I go from left to right and right to left just to make sure. Now it's drying, I've got to get some water. Trying to make sure the bottom is even. The thickness is just the same all the way across. If you have a thin spot, it will encourage a crack there, not only in the drying, but possibly when somebody's using it to bake in. Alright, so now I'm going to sponge right on the rim so it dribbles water left, inside and outside. Slow the wheel down. Fingertips, 45 degrees. Left one is touching the bottom of the pot, the right one's touching the bottom of the wheel head. And then start your pull up, putting pressure towards the fingertips. And then when you get close to the top, let go. It's starting to get dry. You can feel it, so you should be able to anticipate that. Don't try pushing it. Just let go slowly when it dries out. Now fingertips at the bottom, together. The fingertips are pushing at 45 degrees. And when you get to the top, you let go slowly. And I'm going to try letting go and bring my fingers to you. That's what I'm doing. This finger's pushing down on the rim, and these two fingers are pushing at 45 degrees. By that I mean not like that, but like that, so the clay flows over the fingertips. Then dry it out. The wheel's only going around sort of slow to medium at this point. If the pot wobbled, you could slow it down even more, but if you don't have a wobble, you can keep it spinning at a fair tick. And then put your little groove in at the bottom. That enables the wire to slide under just right. I like to do the second little groove just above the first one, just to give myself a little bit of clay that sticks out all the way around, so when I'm glazing I can grip it without it upside down kind of thing. A glazing, it won't fall out of my hands. That way it can glaze right down to that foot area. Okay, now fingers, this one supports on the outside, this one presses down. And it's just pulled it out just a touch, so you've got more volume now in the piece, and it's just like a curve. You can go as low as you want really, but you want to be able to catch the drips from the chicken as it's roasting. Now slow the wheel down a bit, that little groove in the rim, let go that over slowly. No bugs. I'm surprised. I was expecting to get irritated by some mosquitoes or black flies. In Nova Scotia they're famous for the black flies, but they mostly go inland, and we're right on the beach, on the coast basically, so I don't get the black flies too much. If you go 50 yards up the hill, you get black flies. Alright, so now let's put a little spiral in the center, leave it smooth in the center for my bottle that's going to sit there, and then make a little dent, pull out. Not too deep because you don't want to thin it too much. Oops, a little bit of clay there. Alright, so let's see what this one looks like. So that one I think is a bit more open than the last one. Now I can paddle this in two sides, have like two flat sides, two curved sides, put the handles on either flat or curve, or I could paddle it all four sides and end up with a square looking dish. That's something later on when they're a bit drier that I might do. So anyway, last one. Let's get a bat. There we go. I think these are called Plasti-Bat. I bought them a couple of decades ago, so they really last. A few of them warped when I actually had pots and I was trying to dry them a little faster on the kiln. I have them sitting on props obviously, but I have them, you know, 4 or 5 inches above the kiln, drying some pieces to do it faster, and the bat's warped. So if you get Plastefex, you've got to be careful they don't go on the kiln. Okay. So, block of clay, curve the bottom off so you don't trap air under there. I bet you're wobbling a lot on that now. It's staying in place at least. Alright, so dribble it and push in, down and in. My hands are resting on my thigh there. Still a slight wobble, so you get the water on there. Cone it up. Push down. I didn't have to wet it again because it still felt moist. Now it's drying, so I've got to let go slowly. Now I'm going to go for center. Okay, so we've got center. Now I'm going to push all the way down. Right hand pushing hard. Left hand is letting the right hand win, so it's letting go a little bit with my left hand, and that way it gets wider. But I still got to keep my little finger compressing that outer edge, so we don't end up with, you know, a lot of clay escaping under my finger, basically. Go slowly. Get your rubber rib. You can compress the center now. You can do that a bit later too. It's drying, some more water. Some people don't use a lot of water, and it's just a personal choice. I like to use a lot of water, but I throw quick so I don't have to worry about my pieces getting too soft. Now I'm going to slow the wheel down, dribble some water inside. Fingertips press together and pull up almost immediately just to get a little wall. Let go slowly. Use your sponge and dribble the water right on the rim so it goes inside and outside. Fingertips right at the bottom of the piece and push in and pull up straight away. Slow the wheel down and let go slowly. So the water's all off. Making sure there's no surplus water on there. And then using my wooden rib. Yeah, boy, this dries out instantly. It's a hot day here today. Still wearing jeans though, hot for Nova Scotia, not for people in Florida, I bet. Put the groove in. I use the other bit of the rib and push in. Just a bit above that bottom groove, just to give me that little thing to hold on to when I'm glazing. And get that smooth where the rib was touching. And then if you want to have that double, slow the wheel down again. So I have a little double lip, so the glaze can give me that darker line, and then it depends on how wide you want it to get. Just open it up with your finger on the inside and give it a bit of a curve. There you go. Now this clay has a slight tooth to it. It's, you know, a little bit, I think they might use something like AP green fire clay in it or something, but it's just a little bit of a tooth. Because it is an oven-proof clay. It's Laguna clay number 80. There you go. So, I mean, imagine now I can, like I said, we can make this slightly squared just by denting the rim a little bit. And I can put my handles right there and all that, so that would actually be a nice position for the handle. But I could also do this again and do that just as a nice decorative sort of element. So there's a lot you can do with changing the form of a piece. And now my handles could go right here, or they could go right in the little hollow area there. There's a lot of choices. But that's where the fun of clay comes. You can basically make it up every time you want to make something. So let's see if I can say goodbye properly. Okay, 20 minutes, that's not too long. Hopefully you didn't go to sleep. I am Vaughan Smith, and I'm a potter in Nova Scotia. I've been here 10 years now in September this year. And one day I hope you guys can come visit here, because it's really beautiful. The best time to come, of course, is in the late summer, early fall. And it's still nice. The temperature's in the 70s in September, and we get in the July, August it's always in the 80s, so it's warmer, and we occasionally get to 90, which is what it's doing for these 3 days today. So please come visit Nova Scotia when all the quarantines are over and everything. Hopefully we'll still be making pottery, and you guys will have a nice holiday up here. Alright, I'm going to say goodbye from Nova Scotia, and really thanks for stopping in and watching these videos. Alright, take care. My cat's indoors still. She's not allowed outside, so she's not starring in the ones I do outside. Well, in fact, I have another cat in the studio, so they're both hiding at the moment. They both know each other from the house, but now I have a black cat called Mirandy here too. But he's a bit bullying. So and he was an older cat, 14. So one of the young cats at my house was bullying him. So I actually brought him here. Now Poubelle knows he's a bully, so she's hiding and he's hiding. But hopefully in a new situation they might like each other. Fingers crossed. All right. Okay. Thanks for watching. Bye.